Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Messi and Co. I am Ashley, here as always with my incredible co-host Gian, ready for another Inter Miami official preview, one that's a little bit more exciting than past ones have been. But before we even get into that, Gian, happy Friday. How are you, my friend?
Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Yep. Excited. Finally. We're back. We're back. Messi and Co's back. Messi is back. Hopefully, it looks like great news that we'll talk about. A really important game, I think, tomorrow. And I'm just happy. It's the weekend. When are you not happy that it's the weekend? I'm just excited. So it's great.
Honestly, yeah, no, it's true. And like we told everyone, like we were doing a preview. We are back. Like the show is back. And we couldn't have picked a better preview to start with, in my opinion, because just like you said, and also I'll just preface by saying, like we've said with previews before, we want to keep them short and sweet, talk about the game, the matchup, the big storylines, our predictions, and then get everyone rolling to get ready for tomorrow night's game. So what is different about this game than other games before? What's interesting? Are there any storylines? Like, no, maybe just the fact that Lionel Messi is back. So, like the title suggests, and like this banner suggests, according to Tata Martino, according to the official Inter Miami social accounts, Lionel Messi is completely back and clear to play and is going to be most likely starting tomorrow night. I mean, if he maybe comes off the bench, I think unlikely. I think he's going to be starting, and I think he's officially back. And my first reaction as a Miami sports fan is thank God, because as a Miami sports fan, yesterday was not a great day. So this is a much better day.
Exactly. Anytime you hear Messi's back, it's an exciting day, especially for us. We're huge Messi fans. And then talking about this team and how much I think that how much better they are, which is crazy to think about, to see how they've been rolling so far without him, right? Since he, left due to injury in Copa America in the final, they've been able to win 8 of 9 games without him, where we thought it was going to be really tough. We thought it was going to be tough leading into Copa America, and then they did pretty well. And then they come out of Copa America still without him, and they do very well. This team looks really good. So when you think about that, you're adding one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world, to your team that's already rolling. I think it's incredibly exciting, especially knowing that you're going into what is the tail end of the season, where you really want to make sure that your team is, locked in, gelling, looking great heading into the playoffs. Because there's some teams that sometimes they look really good at the beginning of the season. There's sometimes teams that look really good they're in mid-season form, looking great, and then they kind of fizzle out towards the end. I think that this Inter Miami team has been very consistent throughout the entire season, in the midst of Messi coming in and out and his availability and not being available. And I think that this team has shown a resilience, not only from the athletic perspective and their play, but I think from a mentality perspective, through different interviews that we've had with some of the players after the games, some of the questions that we've had, they're all very resilient, talking about how they have enough on this squad to be able to get through the times where they can't depend on their captain and their best player. And I think for Messi, on his point of view is he's coming back to a team that looks great. Like, I think that's got to be a confident booster for him to say, hey, we're doing really well. I'm going to come in here and I don't have to worry about coming into a team that was, struggling without me. And I'm going to have to lift a huge weight and have a lot of this on my shoulders. I think for him, he comes in here more comfortably. He comes in here more happy, more free to play, knowing I don't have to shoulder the entire team on me, which is, I think, before, this team at times was criticized heavily for that, where they were so reliant on Messi. Now that's not the case. But what a better moment leading into the playoffs, last stretch, bringing the best player in the world. And I'm just excited for what some might be like, okay, they were already at the ceiling. No, this team has an even higher ceiling now with Messi coming back.
100%. Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better. I think it's also just, the energy, right? Like this team, it sounds funny to say because we have won 8 of the last 9, but I think just like the aura around the team, the stadium tomorrow night, just the fans, the energy, like it we said it briefly in the last episode, and it's true in a sense that, like, look, Messi's only played 12 league games this year, right? Out of 30 something. And that stinks if you're looking at it as just a Messi fan. But the team has prevailed with and without him. And so the fact that they're in such good form, everyone is just excited for him to be back. You know, this Miami club community, fan community, they spend a lot of money, they put in a lot of time, they put in a lot of excitement. They're ready to finish off the season, hopefully win the Supporters Shield, hopefully win the MLS Cup, have home field advantage for the playoffs, and have Messi back and feeling good and playing good and getting to enjoy, you know, like to your point, when he was playing in the beginning of the season, there's obviously he's had pressure his whole career, but knowing that a lot of the team is relying on him, now he gets to join it and, you know, like you said, just add another level of what has already been a really great team. And I mean, I'm sure, look, there will be a few adjustments here and there because obviously the team has played the last 9 matches without him. So there will be some adjustments, I think, in how everyone feels and the nerves and just like the, you know, passage of play. Obviously, Messi's someone who, when you give him the ball, good things happen. So obviously that's the priority. But I think it'll just be a really fun, exciting game, atmosphere, all the things you want to get ready for the end of this season.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. And I think tomorrow is going to be a really interesting game in the sense of, you know, Messi's back, but I think in what capacity is Messi going to be back? Are they going to want to give him 90 minutes after not playing for 3 months, even though from what we've heard, he has been practicing very well. You know, he probably could have played against Chicago, but they decided to actually, you know, hold him out, I think, out of that game so that he can go ahead and get some more minutes and that he can so that he can get more minutes for training and make sure that his body's prepped. Like, it seems to me from what Tata said that he could have already been playing. They just want to make sure he's top notch. They doesn't re-aggravate something, especially so late in the season where this is really when you need him. Like, this team was able to get through this. Now it's when it's most important. So we'll see how they do it. Is he going to get 90 minutes? Is he going to maybe come in the second half, or is he going to start and then maybe come out early? We'll see. But I think that I'm like 99% sure that in some capacity, he's going to get minutes. So that's exciting for the fan base. I mean, I'm looking at tickets and I'm sure they were kind of low. I'm sure that now with all this news, little by little, the prices are going to start to come up and we'll probably see a full stadium. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, like, now's the time. Make sure you get them because the prices are going to start going up leading into tomorrow now that Messi's back. So that's always exciting to see him on the pitch, man. I'm stoked to have him back.
Me too. It's like we almost take it for granted. I mean, it's been 3 months, but you know, it's like, what would you get to do if you got to watch Michael Jordan play for the Heat every night? Like, it's crazy, you know. But so let's talk about it. Obviously, Messi is the focal point. His minutes, how he's going to impact the game. Knowing what we know about him, he doesn't love coming off the bench, and he certainly does not love leaving games early. So you know, I think he probably will start. Maybe not. Maybe he'll come in the second half, but you know, I think he either starts or he comes in for the full second half, like starting at the 45-minute mark. We'll see. It'll be exciting, but outside of that, you know, this is a very important game for Inter Miami. It's showing that we want to continue first place. We're playing against a team in Philadelphia that you're going to talk about a little, and that has had, in their own way, a very up and down season. Maybe not the Philadelphia we've been used to in the last few years, you know, that had been sort of high flying, always, you know, first, second, or third, made it all the way to the MLS Cup 2 or 3 seasons ago. But still a difficult game where we need to keep our lead with the Supporter Shield and keep the good energy with Messi back.
Yeah, I think it'll be I don't know if it'll be as easy of a game as the tables make it look, because obviously Philadelphia right now is not even in playoff contention. So you might think, okay, that's going to be an easy game for Inter Miami. But this is, I think, a team that realizes, from a Philadelphia standpoint, that's a team that realizes, hey, they've got 7 matches left this season. This is their playoff run. They are 2 points out of contention.
Right.
every game right now is like a final to them if they want to make it to the playoffs. So I think that they're
They've
going to
been
come
there.
in here with energy. They're going to come into Chase Stadium with energy. They're going to come in here with a big drive to win this game, knowing how important it is for them, because it's three important points, and they're going to brush off whatever's happened the before this game and the entirety of the season. And when we look at this team, they're kind of they're, I know that they're out of playoff contention, but they're like a balanced team. Like they don't have too much trouble scoring. Like they're not one of the top scoring teams, but they're like right in the middle. So they're a middle tier team. Same thing with goals scored. Like they don't have the most goals scored either. They're not towards the bottom of the table with goals scored. They've only had, let's see, 43 goals scored, when you've got other teams that are being scored on 51 times, 58 times, 50 times. Like this is a team that's kind of well balanced. So whereas they're not in playoff contention, they're not the worst team ever. I think that
Maybe harder to break down. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that it'll be a much more even match than we think it might be. I also know that Philadelphia is also having a lot of trouble with injuries, right? They had a few players that went out for international duty, and unfortunately for them, they suffered a few injuries there. So that's a bit uncertain as to what type of Philadelphia team we'll see. Andre Blake is one that returned from international duty, and he had some discomfort that he wasn't able to really play the previous game. Also, their
And he had
newest
been out for most of the beginning of the season, and obviously he's, one of the best goalkeepers in the history of MLS.
Exactly. So he's gonna be questionable. So we'll have to see about that. And obviously that would be a big hit for Philadelphia, facing an Inter Miami team that is the top goal scoring team in the league. So that's definitely something that can change a game drastically, I think. Also, their newest signing, Danny John Jacques, was also injured. He suffered an ankle injury, and then. I think that and a few other injuries, we'll have to see what type of team faces up against Inter Miami. But if we remember, the last time that Inter Miami faced Philadelphia was quite interesting. Philadelphia actually started winning the game, was winning 1-0, and they weren't able to hold on to that lead. We tied the game. Then Tomas Aviles got a red card. I believe it was like in the 84th minute or something like that, where we were down 10 men, 1-1. And it seemed almost like it was the end of the game. Like we were like, okay, tie game, here goes Tomas again, with his silly red cards. And then out of nowhere, you've got freaking, ¿cómo se llama? Leo Alfonso with a beautiful assist from Yannick Bright. I mean, Yannick Bright steals the ball. I think it was like around midfield, something like that. Then puts an incredible pass into Leo Alfonso. Leo Alfonso just like a textbook finish and
down to 9 men, crazy.
And wins it in the 94th minute. Like that was incredible. So I think for Jim Curtin, he's looking at that and saying, like, coming from the Philadelphia side, like we need to make sure that we go in there and we don't lose focus and just play into Inter Miami. Like we need to, if we get the lead early, which I'm pretty sure they want to get the lead early. If they get the lead early, they got to do a better job of strategically holding on to that lead, because Inter Miami, man, that's for me one of the things that I love about this team. They never give up. Ash, how many times have we seen this team go down early? And like you never feel out of it. You never feel out of it, right?
Yeah, that's what makes them so much fun to watch, right? Because there's so many dynamic playmakers with and without Messi on the field. Now we have the most dynamic playmaker of all time on the field. So agreed. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. And I think just like in the overall picture of Inter Miami, and how they're, preparing to finish off these last regular season games, managing playing time, and also, like, I think this game is actually probably more important than people may want to necessarily give it credit to, because you're playing a team that's out of the playoff contention. We've won 8 out of the last 9. That's all true, but the couple things to think about. Next game, it's a short turnaround. It's Wednesday. It's against Atlanta in Atlanta on turf field. What does that mean for some of us? Does that mean Messi's going to play in that after, suffering the injury? Like, are we going to see Suarez play? Maybe the idea is not. And they're right next to Philadelphia in terms of, I think they're both in 10th and 11th, like 1 point out of playoff contention. Obviously, Atlanta has weapons, obviously knowing that that's going to be a difficult match. And so probably a little bit, Inter Miami is looking a little ahead of that and seeing, like, how are we going to manage our players? How are we going to manage that? Knowing that, yeah, we still back us to win every match to finish this season. We're the best team in the league. But you may drop points here and there, and if that is the case, tomorrow needs to be, a clear win, in my opinion, and also a clear in inter what am I thinking? I'm not interaction, but basically like ingraining Messi back into the fold of things. It needs to look natural. It needs to look like the team is performing at top speed, everyone available. What does that look like? Knowing we can just pick off exactly where we left off, because like I said, Wednesday, I think, you're going to probably see changes in rotation, and then we're playing NYCFC, who have been playing better, Charlotte, and then Columbus is obviously a big match. But over the next, from now to October 5th, which is I think like 3 weeks, we have 6 games. So we
Yeah.
have it's going to be coming thick and fast. We want home field advantage. We want the supporter shield, and then we want to win the MLS Cup. So it's I think tomorrow is really meant to like kickstart that kind of that train.
Yeah, I think for this team to be successful tomorrow for Inter Miami, they just have to mimic what they've been doing over the last few games. They've won 4 games back to back. They've been playing really good. They've beat their last 2 opponents by a minimum of 2 goals.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they just have to continue that. They have to continue with the confidence that they've gone into. They have to continue playing. That midfield has been playing excellent. The forwards have been playing excellent. I think that the defense has looked better with Busquets, obviously, in the back line. I don't know if that's going to be the case this week, now that Toto Aviles is going to be back. So from suspension. So we'll see if he ends up, going back into that back line as a center back, and then if Busquets goes back into the midfield. So that'll be interesting. But also, I think these players just have to be level-headed and make sure that they realize that they need to, I think, pick the appropriate moments where they need to challenge hard, pick the appropriate moments when they need to maybe discuss a call with the referee.
Yeah.
Like, don't do things that are going to put your team into a bind, right? So I'm just looking at kind of like the disciplinary list that or summary that's come out with MLS, and some of our guys are on that list that are basically one caution away from being suspended. And again, this is a really important stretch for Inter Miami to make sure, as you said previously, to secure the supporter shield, which is basically in their hands. There's nothing anybody else can do other than wait to see what Inter Miami does. So, what's it called? Tomas Aviles, because of his accumulation of cards, is one accumulation away from being suspended again. Sergio Busquets, same on that list, one suspension, one card away. Federico Redondo, Noah Allen. So these are some guys that are important to the team that they need to make sure that that they don't get a card, especially silly. Like, we can understand a card where you're going in hard and you save a goal or something, but some of these cards we've seen are very silly and could have been avoided. So I think that, and emotional, exactly. So I think that that'll be important as well to set that tone, because you want to make sure that when you get into the playoffs, you don't get some of these silly fouls that you're getting in the season, because that's even more of a big, difficult, putting your team in a difficult moment in the playoff run. So yeah, we'll see. We'll look at some of the young guys. Busquets, like we said, is one of the most important players on this team. Hopefully he doesn't get a card. But then we also have to think there's some times where these guys just want to make sure that they I don't know. We've had players get cards intentionally just to start fresh, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited about this game. I think that Inter Miami has more than enough to get it done, and I really do expect them to get it done. So
I hope so too, and I think I'm really excited. Complete positive vibes. Excited to see Messi play. Excited to hopefully, it's the games have been so sporadic for the last 2 months because of Copa America, then international break, also the Leagues Cup tournament. We haven't had consistent MLS games. So now that we're here and back and, trying to finish our goal, is really exciting. So let's talk about our predictions for tomorrow night. Now, before we even get to scores, I don't need to do full starting lineup predictions, but I would like to just put out a couple things that I'm curious about, and hear your opinion on it. Like,
Yeah, of course.
if Messi starts, where do we see some things shift in order to, because you can't have 12 players, right? So, in my opinion, what do I think is going to happen? I think probably it means that you're going to see, unfortunately, Yannick Bright move to the bench, and Gressel move into the midfield. But then is it going to be and with Busquets? And then the question is it going to be Matias Rojas? Is it going to be Diego Gomez? Is it going to be Federico Redondo? Who's going to play left wing? Because obviously it's going to be right wing Messi, striker Luis Suarez, who's going to be playing in that left wing. There's probably Matias Rojas, but also Diego Gomez has been good. You have Robert Taylor. You have a lot of options. So and defense too, right back. Is it going to continue being Cheto? Is it? And I don't want you to answer all of these. I'm just kind of like posing, if Messi starts, what do we think? How is it going to shake up the rest of the lineup and a lot of players who have been performing at a super high level? If he doesn't start, then never mind.
Yeah, I sure wish you could start 12. I wish you could start 15 players. Like,
Yeah.
there's just so much quality on this
Imagine the
Inter Miami
chaos
team.
15 versus 15.
It's so funny that you think about this team and like the team that faced up against Pachuca, and you looked at that bench and there was you really didn't have much, and now you look at the team a lot healthier and a lot better, and then you literally have enough players to make two teams. So it's tough to answer some of these questions that you presented. But I think for me, when Messi comes back in, I do think Diego Gomez moves up to that left wing. He's played there many times. I think he's the guy that has a job over Robert Taylor. So even though we love Robert Taylor, we think he's amazing, and I think he's a starter. I think Diego, because of the quality that you have on this team, I think Diego Gomez gets that starting spot. I mean, he scored a golazo against Brazil. I don't know if you saw that, but that was just insane. Like, he is. There's no way Diego Gomez is not starting and over Robert Taylor. Like that's cemented. And then when you talk about the midfield, you got questions. Is it Rojas? Is it Gressel? Like, to me, the immovables there are obviously Redondo and Busquets. And then you talk about who else is going to be in that midfield. I think if you just go back historically and see what Tata has done, I think someone who's very high in his favor is going to be Gressel. He's the guy that's been consistent. He's gotten the starts over Rojas. So to me, I think it's going to be Gressel that's going to start in there.
Rojas has been playing so good for Inter Miami. So
yeah. Rojas has been playing great, but Gressel is the guy that's Tata's guy. There's nothing you can do about that, and I think
he's earned it.
Gressel has definitely earned it. To me, it'll be more interesting for me is to see what Gressel looks like going back into that midfield, because I think Gressel's best minutes, I think the best Gressel has ever looked on this team has been playing on that right wing. His ability to pass the ball has been showcased, his ability to create plays. He might not be the best finisher. That's not his job. There are times where I know that we've complained and we said, "Oh, how do you miss that?" Like, but that's not.
I would have scored that.
Yeah, exactly. I would have scored that, but he's not. That's not his strong suit. He's not a textbook finisher like Suarez and Messi. But he's the type of guy that's going to, like, out of nowhere, he gets the ball in his feet and his vision to put in a perfectly placed center or a ball behind the center backs to Suarez or Campana or whoever. Like, I wonder what that's going to look like now if he moves back into that midfield, because most of the times when Gressel was criticized was when he was playing in the midfield. So it'll be interesting to see. But to me, he's the guy that's going to start for sure over Rojas. And then we'll see what happens in regards to Chelo. For me, and I think maybe others share this opinion, not a knock on Chelo, but Ian Frey to me looks better in that position at the right back position. I loved what he did there. I think he's a better defender. I think he's a better passer. I think he's more of an offensive, better scorer, obviously. So to me, he's the top guy. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. So, but a lot of questions.
And look, there's going to be a lot of rotation, like we said, because we have, like I said, Wednesday, which feels like a trap match because it's going to be at Atlanta in turf. They're playing for playoff contention. It's going to be a difficult match. And then New York City, who's fourth right now, right? Like it's going to be a difficult couple of matches. So, maybe I think to your point, it's going to be those front six. I agree with you. I think maybe if anything, though, once the game starts, you probably are going to see Messi be kind of where he always is, which is like not necessarily a false nine, but like kind of like a number
Yeah.
10, like, stays center, and maybe Gressel moves up, and then just Federico and Busquets kind of stay as two holding midfielders, where like he's
Yeah.
listed as being a midfielder, but he kind of plays up. That's maybe something that can happen. But I think there will be, in the second half, I think you will definitely see Matia Rojas if he doesn't start. You will definitely see Benjamin Kramaski. You will
Yeah.
definitely see Robert Taylor. Those are some players. Yannick Bright. Those players. We have 5 substitutions. Tata's not necessarily known for making a ton of them,
Yeah.
but knowing the quality we have now, and again, knowing that these next 3 matches are tough, these next 7 matches are tough, there will be some rotation, I think, and Tata figuring out when it gets to those moments where it's single elimination, where it's high stakes, who is 100% my top 11, who's 100% my 60th minute sub, like who's my 80th minute sub. I think those are things that we'll see and we'll figure out, and it'll be fun. Tomorrow will be
Yeah.
really interesting to see what the personnel is going to be for throughout the whole game, how he starts and how he subs. I'm really interested.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Play it's the push to make sure you lock in that supporter shield, and you want to make sure that not only locking in the supporter shield but getting into the playoffs healthy.
Home
So
field
you
advantage.
can't and you need to find well, not we, but Tata needs to find the balance of.
No, I coach too. I
Well,
coached
yeah,
from my couch.
we had a picture of you coaching
I
that
did.
one
I
time
coached
with
with Julian
Gressel.
Gressel and Robert Taylor. I
Yeah.
helped a lot with strategy.
So I will correct
You
myself.
lost.
So Tata and Ashley need to figure out a way for us to basically make it to the finish line. Not only getting the good results, the results needed to lock in the supporter shield, but making sure that once you lock in that supporter shield and you get to the playoffs, you're also healthy, which goes back to you've got enough players where you can rotate them. You don't overload players with too many minutes. Once you see they're tired, get them out. I mean, the humidity here, I'm just walking around outside my house and I'm like
Oh
dying
my
of
God,
sweat.
yeah.
I imagine playing 90 minutes, so making sure that when these guys are tired, rotate them, making sure that if there are guys that are, maybe disciplinary wise, maybe they're getting too heated, get them out. Like there's opportunity here to make sure that this team gets healthy and right into the playoffs, and that'll be important. And tomorrow we'll see kind of probably the beginning of that, I think.
Agreed. Very, very exciting. We'll both be there at Chase Stadium. Super excited to see the atmosphere. Super excited to watch the match. Super excited to see Messi back. So last thing we do, as always, before we go, score prediction. I don't know. It's been a while since we've done one of these, Gian. I'm
Yeah, it
feeling,
has.
I don't know. There's just so many possibilities tomorrow. Not even the score, just the game in general. Like, it's such an enigma. It's such a puzzle. I do not know what is going to happen. And I guess that's kind of the beauty of live sports, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll start. I'll say we're going to win.
Okay.
And I actually think we're going to win handily. I think we're going to win 3-0.
3-0. Okay. I like
Not
that.
gonna say who's gonna score though. I'm not cooking that much yet.
I like that. I actually like that scoreline. I'm very close to there. So I also just looking at Inter Miami and their ability to score and how they've scored over the last few games, scoring 4 goals against Chicago, scoring 2 against a really good Cincinnati team, being down a man, scoring 2 against Chicago, the previous one, 3 against Toronto, all without Messi. If Messi plays, there's no way they're scoring less than 3, I think. So I'm going to go 3 as well, but I'm going to give 1 to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I think that Inter Miami, their defense is where at times they have issues. So I think that they not necessarily that
Maybe
they'll have
disciplinary.
issues
Yeah,
there,
for
but
sure.
there's sometimes there's like a momentary lapse, right, with this
Yeah.
defense where they're doing good, and for some reason there's a disconcentration there, and something happens. So I think there'll be one of those, but otherwise I think they'll look good. So 3-1 is what I'm going with. So we're close. 3-0, 3-1. The point is I think there's going to be a lot of goals, and that's going to be exciting, especially with Messi back.
Totally agreed. Yeah. I feel like it could be either or. Comment on YouTube or reply to us on Twitter. X, whatever. I still call it Twitter. Everyone still calls it Twitter, right? Yeah. With what your score prediction is, if you agree with ours, if you have your own, and if you not only guess the score prediction right, but also get the goal scorers right, you'll get a shout out on our next episode that we'll have recapping the game. So look forward to that. It's exciting stuff. But yeah, well, that was 30 minutes, just what we were looking for. Great episode. Really excited to be back. We said it before, we love doing this. You know, it's a passion of ours. And Messi's back. MLS is back. You know, we're about to enter a really fun stretch of matches, and hopefully we'll be lifting 2 trophies in the next few months, and we'll be there every step of the way. So, as always, make sure you like and turn on notification bells for this video on YouTube and comment. Like I said, let us know your score prediction. 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel, where we'll be putting lots of content out more and more as time goes by. And make sure you are following us on Twitter/X at Messi and Co., where we will be giving tomorrow night, for example, live play-by-play commentary, breaking news, all that kind of good stuff at the match that we're super excited to be at and to see. So yeah, as always, have a great weekend. Thank you for watching this episode of Messi and Co. I'm Ashley. That is Gian, and we will see you next time.